The auction house smelled of rust and recycled air. Verk stood among a crowd of scavengers and collectors, his eyes fixed on Lot 247, a derelict spacecraft that had been floating in the Kepler salvage yards for over a century. The auctioneer's voice droned through the specifications. Unknown origin, atmospheric breach on decks 3 through 5, power core dormant but potentially functional. Sold a bidder 73 for 8,000 credits. Verk couldn't believe it. He just bought a piece of history for less than a standard shuttle cost. As he transmitted the payment from his neural link, his partner Akeem appeared beside him. Her dark eyes narrowed with that expression she wore whenever he made impulsive decisions. "Please tell me you didn't just buy that floating coffin," she said. "It's not a coffin. It's an opportunity," Verk grinned. "Come on, Akeem. When was the last time a civilian got access to pre-contact alien tech?" She sighed, but he could see the curiosity flickering behind her skepticism. Akeem had been a xenoarchaeologist before they'd started their salvage business together. If anyone could appreciate what they'd just acquired, it was her. 3 days later, they stood in the cargo bay of their tug vessel, staring at their purchase through the observation window. The alien ship was magnificent in its decay, a sweeping crescent of dark metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Its hull was scarred with micrometeorite impacts and radiation burns, but the fundamental structure remained intact. "Registry says it was found drifting near the outer markers in 2187, Akeem read from her datapad. "No distress beacon, no sign of crew. The initial salvage team couldn't even get the airlock open." "But we're not the initial salvage team," Verk said, pulling on his EVA suit. "We're smarter, better looking, and significantly more desperate." Akeem snorted but suited up anyway. The exterior airlock should have been impossible to open. Its mechanisms were designed for physiognomy that didn't match any known species in the galactic community. But Verk had made a career out of solving impossible problems. After 2 hours of careful plasma cutting and bypass work, the door hissed open, releasing a puff of ancient atmosphere that their suit's sensors immediately flagged as non-toxic, but strange. Inside, the ship was a cathedral of shadows. Their helmet lights cut through the darkness, revealing corridors that curved in mathematically perfect arcs. The walls were covered in symbols that seemed to shift when viewed peripherally, and the floor had a peculiar texture that made their magnetic boots struggle for purchase. "This is incredible," Akeem whispered, running her gloved hand across a wall panel. "These inscriptions, they're not like anything in the xenolinguistic databases. This species, they were never part of the community." They moved deeper into the vessel, passing through chambers filled with equipment whose purpose they could only guess at. Everything was sized for beings much larger than humans. Doorways 3 meters tall, consoles positioned at uncomfortable heights. But what struck Verk most was the intentionality of it all. This wasn't a cargo hauler or a military vessel. It was a home. The bridge, when they found it, took Verk's breath away. A massive viewport dominated the forward wall, currently showing only the dull gray of the salvage yard, but clearly designed to frame the cosmos in all its glory. The command chair, if that's what it was, sat in the center of a raised platform surrounded by holographic projectors that flickered weakly as their presence activated ancient systems. "Verk, the power core," Akeem said urgently. "It's not dormant. It's in standby mode. It's been waiting." Before he could respond, the holographic projectors blazed to life. A figure materialized before them, tall, ethereal, with limbs that bent in too many places and eyes that held galaxies. The alien didn't speak, but information flooded directly into their neural links. Not words, but concepts, feelings, memories. The being had been an explorer, one of the last of its kind. Its species had seeded the galaxy with knowledge and wonder millennia before humanity had even discovered fire. They had visited Earth once in the distant past and had been fascinated by the tenacious little primates who used tools and dreamed of stars they couldn't reach. This ship had been a gift, left in the void with coordinates locked into its navigation system, coordinates that would only activate when approached by human neural signatures. For 120 years it had waited in the salvage yards, passed over by Xylorians, Krenth, and countless other species, until 2 humans with the audacity to dream had claimed it. The hologram gestured to the command console. More information cascaded through their minds. The ship's name was Wanderer's Hope. It was a gift to humanity, A species the ancient aliens believed would one day join the great explorers of the cosmos, not as conquerors or traders, but as seekers of wonder. Akeem's hand found Verk's, squeezing tight. He could feel her trembling, or perhaps that was him. The ship's systems were coming online fully now, adapting to human physiology, translating controls into familiar interfaces. The ancient power core hummed with energy that would last for centuries. The navigation charts showed routes to star systems no human had ever catalogued, worlds of impossible beauty and danger. "It chose us," Akeem said, her voice filled with awe. "No," Verk replied, staring at the vast star maps now rotating around them. "It chose humanity. We just happened to be crazy enough to buy a 120-year-old alien derelict at a sketchy auction." The hologram of the ancient explorer seemed to smile, though it had no mouth. Then it faded, leaving behind only the thrumming ship and two humans standing on the threshold of infinity. Verk looked at Akeem, seeing his own wild excitement reflected in her eyes. They had come looking for salvage, maybe some alien tech they could sell for a profit. Instead, they'd found a legacy, a calling, and a ship that had waited over a century for its true owners. "So," he said, settling into the command chair that was already reshaping itself to fit his frame, "where do we go first?" Akeem pulled up the navigation charts, her fingers dancing across controls that responded to her touch like they'd been waiting for her specifically. "There's a nebula 17 light-years from here. The logs say it's home to a space-time anomaly the builders never got to investigate." "Perfect." Verk engaged the engines, feeling the Wanderer's hope respond with an eagerness that transcended its mechanical nature. "Let's show the galaxy what humans do with impossible gifts." As the ship pulled away from the salvage yards, leaving behind the rust and recycled air for the infinite dark, neither of them looked back. They were explorers now, inheritors of an ancient legacy, and the universe was waiting to see what humanity would do with its second chance among the stars. Behind them, in the empty lot where their purchase had floated for 120 years, the auction house updated its records. Lot 247, status, delivered. Value incalculable. The galaxy, it seemed, had been waiting for someone foolish enough to buy a mystery. Lucky for everyone, humans specialized in foolish courage.